Good evening, everyone. We're back, GNR discussions. Today, our topics are remakes. In light of the new Mortal Kombat movie, we decided to touch upon what remakes we like and what remakes we don't like. Matter of fact, we're going to flip and we're going to start with what we don't like first. So, Nabor, what you set us off today?
Hey, good evening, everyone. So before I tell everyone what I don't like, what remake or reboot I didn't like, I'm going to play the theme music and hopefully you guys can guess what it is.
18.
Hey, you guessed the right answer. 18. Okay, let me share my screen real quick so I can go do the whole show and the synopsis and everything else. For those who don't know the A-Team, and I'm guessing we're going to have some people in the audience who do not know the A-Team.
Right.
Okay. You guys can see my screen? Okay.
There we go.
So the A-Team. So a quick synopsis about the show. The show aired in January 23rd, 1983, and ran all the way to March 8th, 1987. 98 episodes. The show's about special forces, a group of special forces, guys who were in the military, who were accused of a crime they didn't commit. They were able to escape the custody of the U.S. government, and while on the lam, they were mercenaries, but not your traditional mercenaries where they were contract killers and so forth. Rather, they were good Samaritans. They will help people who are disenfranchised, who are being bullied by some guy in a small town or city. So let me give you the players, the A-Team, name all of them for you. So we had Hannibal, Master of Disguises, played by George Peppard. You had Face, who was a con man and gigolo, played by Dirk Benedict. You had Howling Madman Murdoch, who was played by, I believe, Dwight Schultz, excuse me, sorry about that, had a brain freeze. And then you had B.A. Baracus, played by Mr. T. B.A. stood for Bad Attitude.
Bad Attitude.
Now, this show was one of the most popular shows in the 80s, and at the time, give me 1 second, guys. It was so popular that it had its own line of action figures. Okay, they had their own action figures, and with the A-Team, there was like four things that was guaranteed to happen. So one, you knew that Murdoch was going to be in a VA hospital. He lived in the VA hospital, and what was always funny to me was that the U.S. government should have been monitoring any VA hospital he stayed at to capture the A-Team, but somehow, some way, they didn't figure out, okay, listen, this guy's insane. He's going to be admitted to a VA hospital. Let's
get medication.
Have somebody there and watching, have some extra security there to ensure he didn't break out, but he broke out somehow. So it was odd to me. 3, Mr. T would say, Peter the Fool, and be drugged. Mr. T, that was his one-liner. Mr. T was afraid of flying. Him and Murdoch would be at it all the time. What they would do is find a clever way to drug Mr. T to be in an airplane or a helicopter, okay? 3 actually, somehow, some way, the U.S. government could not find the A-Team, but an ordinary citizen was able to find them somehow. They had to find them somehow. So, which was always funny to me, like, wait a minute, the United States, how sophisticated equipment, surveillance techniques, spies everywhere, can't find a roving band of mercenaries, but an ordinary citizen from a small town in Hickville, USA, can find them. And I always laughed at that. And then the fourth thing that was guaranteed to happen in the A-Team, they were going to create some kind of machine, some kind of vehicle, like a mini tank, and roll through the town, shoot up everything, but not kill anybody. And then they would shoot up everything in the world. Then they'll get hold of the villains and fling them 10 feet in the air somewhere, and then the show will be over. It was masterful. So that was the funniest thing about A-Team. But like I said, it was vastly popular. They had their own line of action figures. And then the main character, the most popular character was Mr. T. He appeared in other pop culture shows like Ricky Schroeder, where he helped Ricky Schroeder defeat a bully. And then you had Mr. T was in Different Strokes, where he helped Arnold, I guess, defeat a bully and help pick up a girl. So he was both, the muscle, and he was a Casanova, helping guys with their game, picking on women. So that's what the role he played. And Mr. T was so popular that he has own cartoon show, Mr. T.
Yep.
Well,
used to watch that.
Yeah, it was a fan. Listen, I enjoyed it. Glenn enjoyed it. We all watched it as kids. And Mr. T, a quick synopsis: he rolled around a group of young gymnasts, and what they did was they practiced gymnastics and it for a crime around the world. I don't know how they had to balance the two, because I could barely balance my job and doing this at the same time.
His dog had a mohawk too.
His dog had a mohawk.
Dog had a mohawk.
And they was able to do it. Mr. T was so popular that I believe he was a template for these guys. Roadblock, if you can't see him, from G.I. Joe, and Panthro and Thundercats. But here from a different lens, we do a deeper dive into things. So my deep dive with these two animation figures is that, Hollywood, this was Hollywood template for a Black man, I believe, intimidating, mean, muscular, and he was a mechanic. He dealt with machines. He was a laborer. He wasn't a leader or the strategist. He was just a muscle. So let's think about that. It was stereotyped with these characters. All right. But A-Team was vastly popular, and people in Hollywood, they're all looking for good ideas. Okay, what's the next best idea? What should we do to get, pump up the market, get some popularity? So why reinvent the wheel? Let's reboot a franchise that was successful years back. And what they did, folks, in A-Team, the movie, which was straight up trash. Okay, I got the Grim Reaper up here. You guys can't see it.
I see it. Yeah, I see it.
It was god awful. So you had Liam Neeson playing Hannibal. You had this character, what's his brother's name? I think his name is Charlotte Copley, playing Mad Dog Murdoch. Then you had Quentin Jackson, he was an MMA fighter, playing B.A. Baracus. And then you had Bradley Cooper playing Face Man. It was loud, there's a lot of shooting. It reminded me of a Michael Bay movie, but it just didn't have the essence of the A-Team. And for this, to me, it failed vastly because it didn't capture what the A-Team was about. The A-Team wasn't just about shooting up things and, explosions. They were comical. The interaction between Murdoch and BA was classic. They would go at it all the time, like Tom and Jerry, but at the end of the day, there was teamwork. Face was charismatic. Actually, he's my favorite character because he wore cravats, he wore sport jackets,
right?
Man. And Hannibal was a prankster. Hannibal's a leader. He was wearing disguise. They weren't able to capture the essence of that TV show in the 80s that we all loved. So this is my failure, guys.
Okay. Now I'm going to tell you, I love the A-Team movie. I watched it just before the explosions and the fighting. I felt like they had to tell their story. Yeah. So maybe in 18.2, they might start helping people, I guess. I don't know. But, hey, how do you get your story out there? But that was definitely a good little intro there. And Nicole, you go with your next one now? Who you didn't like?
You got to turn it. You muted.
Russ?
I'm sorry, my bad. Yeah, the thing about the A-Team, just going with what y'all were saying, the thing about that with the movie, it was more of the hype. Like, what I'm saying, Willie's saying, you've seen the show, but you put these group of actors together now to make a movie. They're not really worried about a serious plot. It's just what they're going to pull. So for me, it goes with Mortal Kombat. Now, I remember it was 92. I was about 14 years old at that time, and Sega had released a video game that blew my mind the first time I played it. I heard about it, went to go buy it, had a Genesis already, got the game, playing it. This is awesome. The thing it introduces fatalities. At that time, you would play, Street Fighter, which, you had little moves of Baraka would shot, that kind of stuff. Or not Baraka, excuse me. I can't remember the character's name, but the other one, who could extend his arms. They didn't have fatalities and didn't have gore. Yeah, Mortal Kombat came out. The game came out in 1992, and it had the gore. with the blood as you were fighting. They had a friendly mode, and if you enter in the code, you could get the blood mode.
Right.
So when you see these fatalities, then in a video game, it's like this is, you know, somebody's imagination, like, you know, these characters, this guy who can shoot a ray out of his eye, and this woman who can, you know, do a flip and slam you down, and, you know, all this kind of stuff, and Johnny Cage with the nut punch. Well, the film comes out 3 years later, and the video game, they have another video game, which was, I think, Mortal Kombat 3. I can't remember if it was Annihilation or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
But when the film came out in 95, and you're thinking 3 years after the video game, you just know they're going to match that intensity. It's going to be, then the film rating comes out and it's PG-13. Now, at this time, I'm 3 years older. So I'm really not, but I'm going to give it a chance because, like, well, maybe, you know, right, because you expect no less. It's just like, and not to go off, Spawn. Have you ever seen the show Spawn, the cartoon? It came on HBO, like on, I think it was HBO on midnight. It wasn't for children. When the movie came out, it was like, well, what, you know, like you're expected, it's for adults. Having said that, and props to John Leguizamo, because the one thing good about Spawn was Clown, that he really did play Clown well. And not this, Michael Jai White was good too. So anyway, when I go see the film, and I realized then, because I'm 3 years older, yeah, it's just like the 18. They want to make money. They don't want parents bringing their kids, knowing that they played this game or not, with the blood code or with the clean code, to this film. And let's see, Shang Tsung is played by Huriatu. Coming to the 2021. The gentleman plays Scorpion in Mortal Kombat in 2021 is Hiroyuki Sanada. He played in 1995's Mortal Kombat, but he's not listed as what character. So he could have been any random, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they have their clan that Goro and controlled or whatever, but he plays Scorpion in the 2021. Now, this Mortal Kombat, granted, the plot isn't the best. It's based upon the MMA fighters trying to gather some fighters together to take or have control, you know what I'm saying? Well, to fight for the outworld so they won't be able to rule. And as far as I'm concerned, I think everything as far as like the fights, you know, you had the fatalities, you had the gore. It did live up to those expectations, but the plot with bringing in an MMA fighter, I understand you want to kind of, but you just can't there's so many stories in the game itself. It's kind of hard to so it's just really for the action. They want the people, they want to draw them in, they want to get the money. And, you know, I mean, if you have HBO Max or you want to go see it, it's good. It's just like Star Wars, you know, in 77, I know George Lucas was probably thinking, you know, later CGI would come, and, you know, now when you bring in like Revenge of the Sith and you see how Darth Vader comes together and all that, it's, you know, now you see where it's coming to. So for me, I think they were both fine. They're okay. I would take 2021 Mortal Kombat over the 95 Kombat any day.
So you liked it.
So that's the one you liked.
I disliked the 95 Mortal Kombat. Well, I do like the 2021 Mortal Kombat.
No, we're supposed to talk about what we didn't like. Your first movie, what reboot you didn't like?
Well, I have
you wouldn't invert.
But I have another one who said that I had to just pick that one. I have something else that I didn't like, but it's a whole nother film that leads into what is today series.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So that's the one that's the remake you did.
I didn't like 95, but I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. I did kind of my bad.
Yeah. I'm like.
Well, okay, but look, this format. Look, my bad, but okay.
So hey,
yeah, like
we got to do one of each. So you did one.
So you did what you like.
Yes.
So the second time around, you talk about something that you didn't like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
So I'm gonna go ahead and do what I did not like.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Before you do that, Glenn, let me just say something. So Scorpio's Revenge on HBO Max was good, Steph. Did you see that? The animation?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't see that.
Okay. I'm sorry, Glenn. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I ain't seen Scorpion's Revenge, and I haven't even actually watched Mortal Kombat yet. I want to watch it, but You know what I'm saying? And now that McDonald's giving it a good review, I probably will go ahead and watch it sooner. Now, the remake that I didn't like, let me take y'all back. Picture this. It's 1981. You know, we got our first celebrity turned president. Ronald Reagan is in office. And coincidentally, Snowfall will happen in real life around that time as well. The Raiders beat the Eagles in Super Bowl 15. MTV launched. Donkey Kong was released. On the music scene, you had funk, disco, and soul all merging. And there was one band that was known to keep the party going. And that band was Maze, featuring producer and lead singer Frankie Beverly. But Beverly was going through a personal dilemma. He's torn between two women, one that he was with and one that he wanted to be with. So he realizes he must choose, and as most musicians, he uses this predicament to create one of his best songs, Before I Let Go. All right, so that's the remake I don't like. The original opens up with horns and a fly guitar riff, but in actuality, this is a breakup song. I mean, the name of it is Before I Let Go. So I'm gonna take y'all through the lyrics because he's literally dropping this woman in this song. He says, "You make me happy. This you can bet. You stood right beside me, and I won't forget. And I really love you. You should know. I want to make sure I'm right, girl. When? Before I let go." So she about to get dumped. You see what I'm saying? He does have feelings for the lady. He even goes on to say he thinks the sun rises and shines on her. And there's nothing he would not do for her before he lets go. You know, kicks in with some more fly guitar riffs, and then Frankie goes ahead and ends this woman's nightmare because they have a history. So he wants her to know that she's not just a flash in the pan for him. So he continues to sing, you know, "We were so close. I love your charm. I can't understand it. Where did we go wrong? And I won't be asking, girl, I've got to know. I want to make sure I'm right. When? Before I let go." Okay, so he is humping this woman. Now, the song is a groove, and it's so much of a groove that people forget that this is a breakup song. You know, somewhere along the line, it's evolved into a song that just shuts down the night. And I think it's partially because it has the word "go," and that's what the DJ wants to do with it tonight. But also because everyone knows it as a last chance song. It's the last chance to bat your eye at that guy over there. It's the last chance to buy that girl a drink. It's the last chance to bust that move on the dance floor before the party is shut down. And even with it being a breakup song, it's become a staple at almost every Black wedding. You know, although it's clearly the opposite of a wedding song. Side note, Black Americans, we be on our shit. You know, we don't want to listen to international music, but we still want to do the electric slide at the wedding. So Before I Let Go has become one of those songs that will get the old people up along with the toddlers and have everybody stepping in unison. It's undeniably a crowd pleaser. But like I said, back in '81, there were other things going on as well. There was a couple named Matthew and Tina Knowles that had a beautiful baby girl and named her Beyonce. And although she could not relate to Before I Let Go, she would rise through the music ranks as a child star, singing lead for Destiny's Child, and followed up with a solo career that brought her to the success that she's now known as Queen Bey and has a loyal multitude of followers known as the Bayhive. So when it came time for her to do a remake, she picked the lowest hanging fruit. You know, a song that she knew would shut the party down, whether she gave a damn or not. And not giving a damn, she went ahead and remade Before I Let Go. So the original, like I said, is the jam, but I'm sorry, Beyonce does not deserve to remake this. I'm sorry, come on. I just told y'all, this is really a selfish man song. I mean, we grooving about him breaking a woman's heart. This is a selfish man song. It's ours. And it should only be remade by a selfish man. And I'll put it like this. No dude bet not go out and remake WAP. That's their song. We got our song, they got their song. You can't take it. But I digress. You know, Queen Bey sings about half of this song, and then she turns it into a sing-along, step-by-step description of her own electric beehive slide, you know. So she goes into these instructions, but I guess she decides to show how much she really doesn't give a damn. And she makes the remake even worse because she steals another low-hanging electric slide groove, Candy by Cameo, and integrates its melody into this song. So now it's a double remake? Song, Queen Bey. I mean, what's up here?
Yeah.
Now, Frankie Beverly has came out and said that it was the highlight of his life for Beyonce to remake the song.
Yeah.
I think it was the highlight of his heyday for Beyonce to go and remake this song, you know, because if Queen Bey did it, you know it's sold worldwide. But that doesn't just make it good. I mean, there's plenty of whack stuff that blows up, especially when the whack stuff is done by famous people.
Yeah.
So for me, I think Before I Let Go, and Candy for that matter, could keep doing for itself. You know, neither original needed anyone to do a remake, to be honest, in order to keep it popular, because the songs are staples, like I said, in our society. Much less did they need a slightly disrespectful double remake that cuts the lyrics of Before I Let Go and doesn't even give tribute to Candy except steal the melody. So my thing about this remake, as the old adage goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think Beyonce should have left this one alone.
Yeah.
But I know people loved it. You know, that's just that I didn't think it was necessary or necessarily good remake of that song. So you know, we all have our differences of opinions, and of course we want feedback from our watchers out there. Let us know what y'all think about our opinions. So let's roll straight to the next part of this discussion here. We're going to talk about the remakes that we did like. And actually, we're going to flip it. McDowell, go ahead and tell me about the one that you didn't like, the remake you didn't like.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry that I broke from the format there. My whole thing was I really didn't like the first Mortal Kombat. I do like the remake of it. So I apologize for that. I thought I was drawing the parallels there. Like I said, I had the video game in 92. I like that. I love that game. Okay. Like, you know, and even today, I have Mortal Kombat 11, like, you know, on the PS4, really would like a PS5, but either way, still happy, you know what I'm saying, having that. When the movie came out in 95, I tried to like it, but I didn't like it for the simple fact that, like I said, I want to see the fatalities. Now, how selfish of me, of course, like I said, being older, but understanding it is a video game, which is entertainment. Just like the movie, it should be entertaining. If children are playing this game, and you know, even then you had to have an adult buy that game,
right?
But they would make it PG-13, of course, to get that money in. Well, hell, you could have made it, well, probably because you didn't have, you know, all of the effects that you might have wanted. Because like in that version of 95, the only real fatality was Shang Tsung taking some dude's soul, and it was corny. It was like him sucking his soul into his eye. Like, you know, it's like, really? You know, the game does a lot worse. He's changing into people when he's fighting against them, you know what I'm saying, whooping their asses as them. Like, you know, like, I'm faster than you. Hey, Sub-Zero, you're freezing, I'll freeze you. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But yeah, the 95 Mortal Kombat really, that's what I didn't like. And I guess maybe for so long, and as long as the franchise has been going on, like you said, since so for 19 years now, or excuse me, 29 years, pardon me. As long as that's been going on, you know, the game has gotten gorier. Even when they came out with the second movie, Mortal Kombat, I think that one was called Annihilation, the second movie. And it was just, it's trash. Like, you know what I'm saying? The first one was to me. I tried again, but, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm happy that they did catch up to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, wasn't so much as far as, you know, it was a fatality in there, but, you know, Sub-Zero was whooping some ass. He was great. But yeah, my don't like is the 1995 Mortal Kombat. Now, well, I love what you brought up about that whole thing with Beyonce, really just real quick, and the whole breakup of it. If anybody listened, and if you remember, of course you should, K Solo, in 1990, he released my business to that sample. And it's a breakup song. Just like he now that I'm not trying. I do like that because I listen to that. And the talent, like, you know, and he said it was part of it was true of, like, you know what I'm saying, the girlfriend going with him to the movies, and the mother, you know what I'm saying, always snooping on the phone. And the way he did it was so classy. Even then, you know what I'm saying, as, you know, hip hop is starting to more take off, you know, he put it down to the fact that not with even having to cuss so much, you know what I'm saying, like doing it even just as tasteful as, you know what I'm saying, Frankie Beverly did it in 81. So it's just when you said that and you brought that up, I'm like, he really murdered like that. He just, the flow, everything, you know what I mean? It still is. Because he said, the thing he kept reiterating is that it will be Frankie Beverly, before I let go. Like that, every time he's about to end it, let your mommy know she needs to mind her business. You know, he's a young man trying, you know, mature, like, your mother's married, you know, practically, like, why is she following your father or something? You know what I'm saying? Why do you go to movies with her? Why did you go to movies with him? You know what I'm saying?
He said he told her father. Her father said, I don't know what to do.
She kicked me out the house. He said she kicked me out
the house. All right. But yeah, that's my I'm sorry, go ahead, Nabor.
Yeah, but Glenn, you know what? Be honest with you, I'm glad. I like the way you did break down that song. So I never listened to the lyrics.
Right.
But you're right. This is something that's played in, I would say, majority of African American parties I've been to, weddings, birthdays, and it's one of those songs that once it plays, everybody at the dance floor. You know,
everybody's coming to the dance floor.
Right.
Yeah, I remember being a kid back home, growing up. All the parties I've been to, that was once they play that song, you hit the dance floor and everybody's twirling their girlfriend around. You're dancing, nice embrace, not knowing it was a song about a breakup. I never paid attention to it whatsoever. And I'm like, wow, you know, I've been celebrating a song and dancing to a song that's about a breakup, and I had no idea Beyonce made a remake. So yeah, that's a pretty good. I like that. Your segment, man, it's pretty good, bro. Yeah, I like that one. Segment, you know.
Thank you.
So something that I thought a franchise, a reboot, I thought was successful. I'm going to share my screen right now with you guys.
Hold on, drum roll.
Yeah, let's get the drum roll going. Planet of the Apes. So in 1968, this movie was released. Charlton Heston was the main star of this film. A quick synopsis is basically about astronauts that got sucked into a time warp zone and landed on an alternate Earth where apes were the dominant species and humans were the subservient species. This particular movie dealt with a wide range of subject matter: slavery, science versus military, and also there was a bit of a caste system. I think colorism too, if you think about it. Now, you think about the gorillas. The gorillas were darker skinned. They were military and laborers. Orangutans were light skinned, were politicians. They basically were in charge. And the chimpanzees were the scientists. This was a classic film. There were a lot of different racial issues, especially during the 60s and 70s. Things about racial profiling, you know, brutality, and basically, you know, racism as a whole. So it was a classic. I absolutely enjoyed this movie. So in 2001, Tim Burton, guy who brought to you Batman in '89, that starred Michael Keaton, Beetlejuice, Nightmare Before Christmas, and Edward Scissorhands, did a reboot of this movie and tried to capture the same themes from the first original movie in 1968. Mark Wahlberg was the star of this movie. This one failed to do it. This one actually dealt with a theme of fascism, where the military leader wanted to have absolute power, and he was essentially sabotaging any discoveries the scientists made and trying to usurp the politicians in this movie. Now, with this movie, what I did like was the special effects. Tim Burton, you know, he's dark, he's gothic, so he did put that in this particular movie. But to me, I have a guy holding garbage up there, garbage bag. It was straight garbage, you know, from the fact because it failed to carry on the legacy of the original movie. But it was salvaged. Wyatt Rupert came out with this brilliant franchise, a brilliant reboot of the franchise, actually started in 2011 with the rise of Planet of the Apes. Dawn of Planet of the Apes in 2014, and War for the Planet of the Apes in 2017. Now, this particular one gave you a backdrop of how the apes became the dominant species on Earth.
Right.
And the way they did it was science. It was brilliant writing, brilliant acting. And in this particular franchise, it was more of a biblical storyline where Caesar was Moses. He was leading his people out of bondage. And I just thought that, I mean, there was so many different, not so many different things, but themes they had in there about having autonomy, freedom, developing. There's infighting amongst them because you had Caesar, he was raised by human beings, so he was compassionate and caring, where the other apes who were
in the beginning.
Yeah, in the beginning. And he still was.
Yeah.
And then you had other apes who were held in captivity, who was tortured. Some of them was lab animals. They hated humans. They were ruthless. He had one adversary actually within the apes named Kombat, who wanted total domination. He was the catalyst for the war against the humans and the apes, actually. He started off. Now, there was some toxin or some medication that the scientists in the first movie was working on to help with adults who suffer from Alzheimer's disease, excuse me. And the side effects of it actually made humans mute and dumb. And that's how they became the subservient species in this movie. But Caesar, all through the movie, all through the series, had compassion for human beings. But again, because other apes were held in captivity, lab animals, they hated human beings. And this is a classic film, classic series. I enjoyed it. And like I said, biblical theme of Moses leading his people out of bondage. So to me, this was one of the best franchises reboot. And I have a trophy up there awarding it. And that's the movie.
Excellent. Nice.
Word. Okay. So yeah, I like the Planet of the Apes trilogy, the new reboot, and again too, that kind of rolls into my remake that I like, is Kong Skull Island, the 2017 version. Came out the same year that the War of the Planet of the Apes came in. Another monkey dominating. So now the original story of King Kong is back in the 30s, and it's kind of stupid, to be honest. I mean, a movie director and his film crew, along with a struggling actress and a playwright, decided to go to a mysterious island to make a documentary about a fabled giant ape. Of course, they lose the actress to the natives of the island, who then turn around and sacrifice her to Kong, but he doesn't eat her like a normal sacrifice. Instead, he wants to take her home and keep her for some reason. And now the crew has to defeat the natives. Then they have to fight their way through prehistoric creatures and dangers with minimal weaponry and no military training. But they managed to save the actress, capture the 50-foot ape, and once they subdue him, they take Kong to Manhattan on a steamship. I mean, it's the 30s, right? So they ain't got no aircraft carriers, no big planes to carry him. So they got to take him on like a steamship or some shit to Manhattan, okay? So now they have him headlining Broadway, and they're making a spectacle of him. They're making profit without any benefit to Kong. So kidnapped, scared, and confused, Kong attempts to escape and is murdered by his captors. Oh, I actually consider this film to be quite offensive. I mean, the original movie appears to signify, there's a lot of racial overtones. So the original movie signifies the great white explorer's ability to conquer any savage. And by savage, we mean non-white, man or beast, no matter how unconquerable that savage may seem. It implies actually that the great white explorer has a right to disrupt the most natural and pristine ecosystems and seize its apex citizens. And then, King Kong emphasized the great fear that these savages ultimately only wanted the great white explorer's most prized treasure, which is the fragile white woman. And so, I mean, explain to me why this ape on this uncharted island that has only seen native women, has only eaten native women its whole life, must now have this white woman to live with and be docile with. When Kong even escapes his shackles in New York, there's dozens of dancers on stage, white dancers in blackface, because it was the 30s and blackface was the norm. Like I said, this movie is pretty racist, you know. But again, Kong goes for the visibly white woman, as opposed to just grabbing one of the blackface dancers that would have probably appeared more familiar to him, being that he grew up in a, you know, indigenous area. And then lastly, the original movie shows to what lengths the great white explorer will go to protect that fragile white woman from these savages. In effect, they say, Kong and other savages, instead of returning you to your unspoiled natural environment that we unjustifiably snatched you from and used you for our own entertainment and enjoyment, we will shoot your savage behind off the Empire State Building for showing interest in this white woman. I mean, I just really do not like this movie. You know, it is too much. Conversely, there are 3 reasons that I think the remake, Kong Skull Island, is better than the original and other remakes as well. And first of all, special effects. Like we said, the island has to be impressive. It has to be foreign, untamed, unpredictable. The jungle that's deep and expansive and unconquerable. You know, outsiders cannot survive without the guidance of the natives. Things are not as they seem. A plant could kill you because, hey, it's not even a plant. It's a strange, unimaginable predator. Mountain views are spectacular, but keep your head on a swivel because winged terrors will pluck a full-grown man from the ground and tear him to shreds in midair. Kong himself is crucial, and he's got to be larger than life. And I'm sorry, but you can't make a 50-foot ape, much less a 150-foot ape, until you have the special effects that are available now in modern times. A man in a monkey suit just can't pull it off these days. The second reason is that the story is more believable. You know, a scientific research team supported by the U.S. military travels to a mysterious island. With the finest military weaponry, they fight their way through prehistoric creatures and dangers, but they still cannot defeat the 150-foot ape. You know, and Kong doesn't have any attraction or any unexplained fascination with any of the scientists, much less the one white woman in the whole island. You know, and during their struggles, the group comes to realize that Kong is not their enemy. This hostility is simply reactive to their invasion of his territory. And they find that Kong is actually revered by the island natives. And that's because Kong is the protector of the island from these vicious reptilian type predators that would devour the natives and now want to devour the science team as well. So some of the team eventually escapes the island, but only with Kong's help. And they leave, and Kong remains the apex predator of his domain. The third reason why I like it more is that it doesn't have the racial overtones. You know, as opposed to being able to conquer all, the great white explorer in this movie that started the quest loses his life for sticking his nose in something that he didn't understand or a place that he didn't belong. The natives are not presented as savages. You know, in fact, their primitive society is actually more socially developed than the so-called civilized outsiders. And then no one, including Kong, is overly worried about this one white woman. I mean, he does save her life, but it's only as payback because she had previously helped Kong by distracting his reptilian adversary during a fight. So in conclusion, I think Kong Skull Island is a remake that definitely needed to be made. It had to right the wrongs of its previous King movies. And it also leaves the door open for more adventures from this hero. Case in point, there's Godzilla vs. Kong that came out recently that built off of this version of Kong. And that I like that movie as well. But, you know, here's just our opinion, our humble opinion of remakes that we think were great, remakes that we think were not so great. And of course, opinions are like everyone has one. You know, everyone has one. I ain't gonna go vulgar, but everybody has one. So tonight, if y'all enjoyed the show, please subscribe to our channel. Make sure you click the like button and the notification button so we can remind you when we put out new content. Again, from GNR, this is Glenn, along with
Nabor
and Russell. GNR.
Wish you a good night.
Have a good night, everyone. Take care.